there guys, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to our Build the Nation in Bulgaria, where we are the manager of Bdin Vidin. It's episode number 3 today. We've reached the end of season 1 here in Bulgaria. In the second tier, remember, we did start right at the bottom, because that's just the way I like to do things. Like I say, we have reached the end of that first season. I decided not to come back and do the last game. It's against the team that we took on in episode 2, and it was also a little bit of a dead rubber, but you can see there that we have played 37 games as the manager. We've got a 51% win ratio, which is pretty decent. We do have a couple of things that we're going to run through today. Obviously we're going to do a recap of the season. We're going to have a look at everything that's happened since you were last here, and we're going to start off with some signings that we've made since you were last here. They're all loan signings. We brought in Joaquin Jaraguay, I think that says. He is a 22-year-old Argentinian. Unfortunately, he didn't perform to expectations, particularly when you look at his attributes for being an inside forward. Like I say, very, very good. He only managed 1 goal and 1 assist in non-competitive football, and you can see his match rating there was a 6.28 for us in the first team in the Victoria League. So unfortunately, he didn't get the game time. He didn't do it how I was expecting him to do it, really. The next signing was Bdin Vidin. He again can play anywhere in that final third of the pitch. He came in on loan from Marek Bdin. He performed quite well, to be honest, in the 5 games that he did play. He got 2 assists, a 6.72, so maybe not the best performance. Non-competitive wise, he did play quite well. But another one who I brought in on loan, obviously we're not paying any wages and stuff like that, which is the issue that I am having here at Bdin Vidin, is the budgets are so low. I am struggling to improve the squad, but hopefully that's going to change into season 2. The next signing who I did bring in was Vladimir Medved. He came in as a Segundo Volante on attack on loan from Pirin Blagoevgrad. Again, didn't really, in fact he didn't even get a game in the league for me, the 24-year-old. I brought him in maybe as more of a bit of cover, and I just didn't fancy him in the end. But again, it didn't cost us anything. We're not paying any of his wages or anything like that on his loan contract. In fact, he's already gone back to Pirin Blagoevgrad. Did he actually play for me? No, he didn't play for me. His loan contract has already expired. And the final one who I brought in was Konstantin Kostadinov, a 20-year-old Bulgarian goalkeeper. Now, he played quite well, to be fair, considering the stature of the team that we are. He made 17 appearances for us. He did concede 28 and only kept 2 clean sheets, which maybe is not the greatest, but as a 20-year-old goalkeeper playing in the team that we are, he actually did quite well as far as I'm concerned. We also managed to move some players on free transfers. Vinicius Belotti and Martin Svetsanov did leave on free transfers and got their wages off the books, which did help out just a little bit. So in terms of where we did actually finish in the league table, it was in 6th place. If you do remember, we were one of the favourites to be relegated. We finished 6th though. We did push PFK Montana and Dunav and Dobruja pretty hard, to be fair. We just tailed off a little bit towards the end of the season, but we finished on 56 points with a positive 13 goal difference. Scored quite a lot of goals as well. Unfortunately, we did concede a lot, which was maybe our downfall. In terms of like the season results, last time you were here was the 4-0 win over Chernomorets Balchik, who did finish bottom of the league. You can see then we had a little bit of a poor run of form, losing to Skrumska Slava. Got hammered by Ludogorets in the cup. Obviously, we had the winter break, which they have here in Bulgaria. We came back when our form wasn't exactly great. We did pick up 4 wins in a row at the end of February into March, but then we lost 2, and you can see the form was a little bit patchy towards the end of the season, which is obviously why we dropped off. In terms of how the players performed over the season though, I've borrowed this view from Second Yellow Card. You can check him out on YouTube, he's obviously one of the bigger boys, but I've borrowed this view from him, and it gives you all the detailed information about the players over the season. The player who made the most appearances for us this season was Nikola Borisov, central defender, a 6.81, not really great, but then we weren't great defensively. He, did okay, really did okay. In terms of top goal scorers, it was Lashkov. In the end, ended up with 14, which he's outperformed his XG, which is 11.32, which is pretty good. followed up by Todorov, whose XG is on par with it. But then we've got Klementov, the man who we signed in January. He's outperformed his XG massively, and I would argue that he's actually the player of the season is Klementov. He's done really, really well for us. A 7.19 average rating. Signed on a free transfer, £90 a week. The minimum you have to offer players, by the way, in Bulgaria is £80 a week. So we've gotten pretty much close to his minimum. Possibly the signing of the season for us, though. Ivanov, who is, I believe, retiring at the end of the season, performed quite well. He is indeed retiring. He did quite well as well. So we have had some, silver linings so far this season. We have done quite well. On to the finances now, and you can see that we're £167,000 in debt. We are still over that wage budget. We do have next season's budgets already, with it being at the end of the season. You can see the wage budget has increased to £3,000 a week, which is good. Especially when you consider I've got a lot of players whose contracts are expiring, I've got retiring players. My committed spending is now £2,667. Which means I've got some room to bring some players in and improve the squad. But we do lose a lot of money here. Obviously, down in the second tier in Bulgaria, we do need to, we need to start making money, really, which the first job is going to be promotion. And that is hopefully our plan for Season 2. Obviously, with a busy pre-season that I have got ahead of us, trying to sign the players to do that as well, and make a real push for promotion. In terms of how the squad themselves feel about me, these were really, really poor when I first took over. You can see that they have started to improve. The team cohesion's pretty much in the middle, as is the managerial support. Club atmosphere is also very good. We do have some unhappy players as well. One of them feels there's a lack of depth in defensive midfield. Aitov wants to start more games, but he was injured, and then the first game that he came back and I started him, he got sent off. So it's what do I do? He's here for next season as well. Maybe one that we look to sell on. Todorov didn't like one of my team talks. And then Jaragai's unhappy with the amount of playing time, but he hasn't performed when he's played. So team dynamics is not too bad. It is getting better. Obviously, a happy club perform better, which is just one of the things from Football Manager. In terms of how the other Bulgarian teams got on in Europe, we can start with Levski Sofia. Unfortunately, they were beaten by AEK Larnakas. I think that's Cypriot opposition. They were beaten 5-0 in the Conference League second path qualifying round, which is not great. That's not really too many coefficients coming in there as far as Levski Sofia are concerned. But moving on to the biggest club in Bulgaria, which is Ludogorets, and they did quite well in the qualifying for the Champions League, eventually losing to Astana in the Champions Path second qualifier. No, they went through against Astana, I beg your pardon. They went through on penalties, but they did lose to Galatasaray in the third qualifying round of the Champions Pass, which means they dropped into the Europa League qualifiers, in which they beat BK Haken, which was very, very good. They got into the Europa League group phase, which unfortunately they did not qualify from. They missed out by 6 points. Real Betis and Roma in that group was always going to be difficult for Ludogorets, but they then did drop into the Europa Conference League knockout playoff, where they beat Legia Warsaw pretty comfortably. Unfortunately lost to Turkish opposition again in Besiktas, but a decent run in Europe there for Ludogorets. We also had a European appearance from CSKA Sofia. This time around in the Europa Conference League, they went into the qualifiers, beating a couple of teams, including Derry City, before eventually losing to FK Partizan in the fourth path qualifying there. And we also had CSK 1948 Sofia, who were drawn against Cups in the Europa Conference League second path qualifying round, where they lost 1-0 on aggregate. So in terms of what that does for the coefficients at the end of the first season, is Bulgaria, obviously we started off in 26th place, but this season we have earned a 4.5, and I think you lose the oldest one, which is the 4, so we have improved marginally. As you can see here, going into this season it was bang on 20, it's now 20.5, which should see us climb above Cyprus there, and the teams below us have not really earned more than us. In fact, none of them have, so we actually should be moving up a position to 25th place in terms of the coefficients, so that's pretty decent. 25th place currently occupied by Romania. All the European qualification places are pretty much the same though, so there's still just the 4 teams going into the qualifying paths for Europe next season. In terms of the board and the supporters' expectations for next season, we still expected to avoid relegation from the Victoria League, which is fair enough for the team we are. Like I said, we are going to make the signings to hopefully improve that. Next season they want us to finish in the top half, and then it's just maintain the top half. That's in terms of the board. Supporters, I don't think they're really bothered. They just want us to play a certain brand of football. But we do have a look at the supporters. This season we sold a total of 30 season tickets in our 15,000 capacity stadium, which is not great. The supporters also have a high influence on the board as well. We have gained more followers on social media, so that may impact the season ticket sales. In terms of gate receipts though, obviously that's something that needs to improve the fundraising from the supporters as well. We do have this big 15,000 seater stadium. Average attendance is 333-ish, which is, you know, if we can start filling that, then that would be ideal. If we have a look at the team detailed stats for the season as well, and we're starting off on the salary per annum, you can see that we do actually have the lowest salary in the second tier, which, considering we finished up in 6th place, is pretty good. Dobrudza, who did get won the championship, theirs is also, you know, it's sky high compared to ours. Really, it's nearly double what ours is. So I think we've done quite well in terms of the salary that we've got to spend. In terms of average attendance though, it's quite surprising to find us up in 8th place at 363. Ludogorets 2 down in 18th with 99. Obviously the Ludogorets supporters aren't that bothered about the second team really. They're only bothered about the first team. But yeah, a decent attendance. It's only 2% of capacity though, which is pretty poor. Spartak Plevens, they've got 400 and they're only 1% of capacity. What capacity is their stadium? 25,000 for Spartak Plevin, which again is not great, is it? When you look at the capacities of these stadiums that are being filled, it's actually pretty poor. And one last thing to go over for this season, guys, is the youth intake that we did bring in. I haven't done their faces yet. I am yet to do that. Some of them have come through with faces already, but we've actually got some decent players coming through. We've got lots with 5-star potential. The one right at the top of the list is a goalkeeper, Valentin Dimitrov, a 16-year-old goalkeeper who looks like he could be quite useful. They've also got some value to them, so that is something for me to consider moving them on. He made 20 non-competitive appearances and conceded 11 with 11 clean sheets. But I do have some potential for players to move on. Of course, I think Dimitrov was here last season, which is why he's actually got a face in the game. I've already done him. He's part of last season's youth intake. The ones that have come in this time around is Stancho Stoilov, a right back. Balanced personality, level-headed, you know, not great, but again, he's got some fantastic potential. He's also got some value to him, the 15-year-old. So again, that's something for me to consider. Do I let these youth players go for now, just to bring some finances through the door? Because we're not going to get any players out of our youth intake as things stand. We've got Georgi Ivanov as well, an attacking midfielder who is unambitious. He's volatile. He's really, really aggressive, the 16-year-old. But again, he's got some value to him. So that's something for me to consider during the pre-season, guys. I'm sorry that we weren't here to do a game, but I didn't think we should do the same game again. I am going to now go through the pre-season. We're obviously going to come back at the start of next season and see if we've improved that squad. Because as things stand in terms of the season preview, we have improved it with the loan signings that we've got. We're in 19th. We're supposed to have finished 13th. We finished up here in 6th, but I need to improve that squad some more, guys, because we need to start thinking about getting promoted. Otherwise, these finances are just going to keep plummeting to the point where we're seriously considering administration. The board takeover didn't happen either, by the way, guys. I'm sure I showed you that already, but I think that's possibly one of our highest finishes. I don't know what this is. I think this is possibly an old division. Maybe this Bulgarian Western B group, is that an old division? Because that's the tier that we're in at the minute. Maybe it was called something else before, but they did finish in 3rd position for that one. So in fact, it's not the highest position that we have finished in. But that is the end of season 1, guys. A quick recap of what we've done. It's been a decent season, considering the type of team we are and where we were supposed to finish. I will be back in the next episode at the start of season 2, where hopefully we've got a squad that we can start challenging for the title for and start getting into the top tier, because we really need to. We need to be progressing the save as quickly as we can. But that is it for today, guys. Please remember to hit that thumbs up button for me, though. It does, as I always say, it does help me out massively. And I will see you all in the next episode. So cheers, guys, and I'll see you later.